Okay, gang, I'm here with my Husqvarna 359 that has been ported up by me. Runs really great, good running saw. Tends to be more of a screamer than a torquer. And so basically, we're just going to do a couple tests. We're going to test this, see what it'll do in this cherry. That's all that is, black cherry. And then we will test the stocker. I have the Jonsered version of this saw, the 2159. We'll test it out in this wood, see how they compare. And then we'll throw in my 2156 that I also ported, but it's not optimum. But we'll see how they all compare with each other. I've already warmed it up and stuff. Two cuts. All right, I got to throw that clutch assembly onto the 2159 that I just bought, the complete stocker. It's got a blown clutch, and so I figured I would just go ahead and throw this one on there so that I can do some testing, and then we'll test the 2156 finally after that. And I'm saving my cookies. Got a big tote right there. Woo! Okay, this is the new to me 2159. I had to take the clutch off of my current 359 to put on there, the clutch and the worm gear. So let's see, we're gonna fire it up, see if it's oiling the chain, and then we'll put it in the cut and compare it to my ported 359. Okay, now here, this beauty is the 2156. This is the hot rod of the group, supposedly from the factory. So far, it's kind of been my experience that the ported 359 is much more of a screamer, and this guy, the ported 357 XPs, 2156s, are more torquey. So let's put it in the wood. I've already warmed it up. Let's see, do some test cuts. And this was ported by me, if I didn't say that, but I was really conservative with everything because I did just the minimal to that cylinder because I want this thing to be close to stock. Well, I mean, it is an aggressive chain, but I didn't have that problem with the 359. You know, this is something, one day I might go back in here and fix all the things that I left open, I suppose I should say. It's not really that I left anything open with it. I kind of feel like I'm fighting against myself. I think I put too much timing in it. But other than that, it should be good. And here I am being super picky. The thing just screamed. But yeah, the guy I got it off of, can't remember your name. I want to call you Sam, but that doesn't feel right. But he's like, I know you're unhappy with it. And I am, to be honest. I expected more. Like, I guess that's the key. This may have just beat the 359. I don't know. It seemed quite powerful, but on the dog end, maybe it's because this knot that's right here made me do something weird and pull crooked on it, maybe, you know, but yeah, maybe it's because with the 359, I never expected greatness, and then I got it. And so I'm like, whoa, with this, I expected more than greatness. And I've always been kind of left like, but running it just now, I'm thinking I'm too hard on it. You know, it's a good running saw. It's a really good running saw. Let's see how that does. Okay, guys, so there you have it. That's just comparing three almost identical saws, you know, but with a little bit of different work done. Two of them are identical, just different colors. The 2159 and the 359, they're the same saw. They just have a little bit of different plastic and different colors. But one of them, you know, the 2159 is completely stock. Completely stock. Now, it is possible that the muffler is a little bit clogged or something like that, but I don't think so. I think that from the shop, this thing was not set up properly, which means that they would have needed to remove the carburetor limiter, tune the saw, and then put it back in place. And you know, most shops don't do that. They just get it from the factory and sell it, and that's it. Well, way up here north, I think that it's very common for these saws to run. You know, you dial in that jet a little bit further because it's so cold. It's colder up here, you know. And wait a minute. Yeah, you don't need as much fuel. You don't need as much fuel. So from the factory, that saw right there would probably run just fine in warmer climate, you know. But up here, it's running fat. It's running fat. Is that right? If it's cold, then you have more oxygen, so you need more fuel. So then it should be running lean. Whatever. Point is I need to pull those limiters. But I had just gotten this saw, got it together, and I was testing it to see how it ran. That's as good as I could tune it with the limiters in place. That jet was all the way closed. That high jet was all the way closed off, and I robbed some from the low jet in order to lean it out even further. So, but anyways, yeah, that's as good as I can tune it. And there you have it. You know, you got to learn to tune your saws, guys, and take those limiters out so that you can run at peak efficiency and get peak performance. But anyways, of course, as expected, the 359 that has been ported, and I've said it time and again, the thing runs really good. It just blows the stalker away. I mean, we saw about half the cut speed, you know, half the time it took, you know, so that's like 100% gain. Not quite. Probably, if you did the math out, it would probably be about 80% gain over the stalker. But again, part of that is the stalker. I couldn't tune it right. So anyways, and then the next up, the 2156, which the 2156, if you guys don't know, it is the same thing as a 357 XP, the famed 357 XP that everybody likes and wants to get a hold of, and you know, it's sought after. Anyways, but this one is even more sought after because it's the red and black version. It's very hard to find these. There seems like there weren't a whole lot of them made, and if they were made, then somebody's got it and they go, I love this saw and I'm never getting rid of it, you know. So anyways, but I got really lucky, and I remembered the guy's name who actually sold me the saw. It's Scott. Scott sold me the saw. Hey, Scott. So anyways, thank you. So I ported that saw, and I went back and I checked the numbers on that. I took 40 thousandths out of the squish, or out of the combustion chamber, right? The squish is at 18 thousandths. And I remember, so whenever I first tested this thing of pulling it, I was checking for compression. I had oiled up the piston, and I got a compression reading of 210 pounds. And I was like, holy crap. Well, after I ran it and washed out that excessive oil, it was more around 185 or 190 pounds of compression. So it's fine. So it is a high compression saw, but not over the top. 185 is like pretty perfect. I think it, if I remember correctly, I think it ended up being about 190. But anyway, so it's got good compression. The exhaust was set to, so I cut the combustion chamber 40 thousandths. The squish is set at 18 thousandths. The exhaust is at 101. The intake is at 80, and the transfers are at 118. And I can remember when I was building this, I really had everything dialed in. I got really good, nice looking ports, and I really tried hard. Really tried hard, because this is, to me, a special saw. And the one thing that I know that I screwed up on was the timing. I always felt like from the beginning I put too much timing in it. I was like, well, let's just run it and see. I think that I had somewhere 12 to 13 degrees timing to advance on that thing, which is, I think, too much. I should have been shooting for about 8 or 9 degrees of timing. And I know a lot of people say, yeah, you know that you've got too much timing whenever you hear the popcorn. You hear it kind of popping, you know, whenever you're running it, and that tells you back off. Well, there has to be a point to where you don't have enough to make the popcorn sound, but you have enough to where it is fighting against itself, I think. I don't know. You know, it seems legit to me. So anyways, the only thing to do is to back off on the timing and see if that helps. But as far as the port work is stellar. It should be running great. You know, there's no reason it should be bogging in the cut like that based off of the port work that was done to it. And so what I saw was, whenever I wasn't applying pressure, and the saw could run at a higher RPM, then it ran at a higher RPM than the 359 did. It was really screaming along. But as soon as I applied pressure and slowed down the RPMs, well, then I was no longer creating optimum power, because it's my theory that there's too much timing. And it worked good when it was working for me whenever I was at higher RPM. But as soon as I slowed that RPM down, it took that timing out of its sweet spot. So I think that's what's going on. The only thing to do here is just retime it, but I can't do everything in one video. So, but I will retime it probably whenever I get the 357 XP back from Super Dave. Super Dave we talked and everything, and he decided he's done what he's going to do on that saw. He really saved me, because I thought the whole time it was air leak type of stuff, but what he figured out was that the problem was in my port work. So and thank you very much for that, Super Dave. All right, so we will, whenever I get the 357 back from him, and it still needs a couple things, like he thinks the clutch is slipping, and he thinks that the timing might be off on that as well, but it's running good and looking good and everything. And so whenever I get it, we'll do some further testing with the 357 XP and the 2156, and try and dial them in and go from there. But as it is, both of these saws murdered the stocker, and but that's to be expected, So anyways, yep. Happy weekend to you guys. Tomorrow I've got a big day. I am going to Pennsylvania to hang out at the Saw Spa. Yeah, chainsaw Saw Spa. And with Jake and Andy and Sarah. And we'll be doing some testing with the Moto Milk, which I'm really looking forward to testing that out. And you guys will see all about it and learn all about it, just like I've been learning about it the past couple weeks. So catch you then.